Maharaja, and I would like to welcome you all to my YouTube channel called Brahma Gaje, a channel that is dedicated to philosophical discourse. Please do not forget to click on that subscribe button and also that like button. In this episode, I am providing a summary of day 8 of Srimad Bhagavad Katha that was held here locally in Maryland at a temple called the Greater Baltimore Temple that is located in Finksburg, Maryland. And the Katha was conducted by the High Priest of the temple, Acharya Shri Padmanabh Joshi. On this day, on day 8, Panditji started with the story that at this time, as Krishna was growing older and older, the gopis had considered him their husband. All the gopis of Vrindavan were deeply in love with Krishna. It was as such that they were forgetting their daily chores. They were constantly in the meditation or meditative state, constantly thinking about Lord Krishna. As if nothing mattered to them. He was the ultimate to them. Panditji provided a definition of pati, husband. Who is husband? Who is pati? The true definition of a husband or a pati is someone that protects. Lord Krishna was the great protector of everyone. So the gopis considered him their husband. Some of the gopis were married, in fact. But the idea here is that they attached themselves to this great experience of being one with Krishna, the higher truth. It is not about a body or a physical being. It is about devoting one to the higher truth, the ultimate truth, and the only truth. That is Krishna. Panditji then talked about the story of Vastraharan. So there was this time when gopis were bathing in the river nude. And Krishna saw that and saw that their clothes were on the side, put on the side, and he steals them, takes them. And all the gopis see that, and they realize that Krishna has completely stolen their clothes. So now they cannot really come out of the river as they were totally naked, nude. And here the idea was brought up that lose yourself entirely in the sadhana, the true meditation. Lose yourself as such that your body, your character, your clothes, everything is just a distraction. Nothing matters. The physical body or embodiment that you have is not the ultimate. We know that. The body perishes, no matter how pretty you may be. So when you are searching for that higher truth, you have to lift beyond that physical being that you are. Look beyond. And I think that was the concept here that was mentioned. Osho Rajneesh, the great philosopher of contemporary time period, comes into mind, in which Osho Rajneesh says nudity is just a state of mind. Nudity is just a state of mind. This was mentioned in the chapter New Door in the book Sex Matters, page number 60, by great philosopher Osho Rajneesh. Then Panditji talked about this story where once upon a time, Krishna and the entire gang, again doing their daily chores, were out there. Cows were pasturing and they were hungry. So they look further, and there was this ashram, this place where the sages were doing yagnas. They were conducting the holy ritualistic fire, and they were all gathered there. So Krishna sits here under a tree and tells his friends, go ask those rishis, because they are doing such a big festival here of yagna, the holy fire, they must have some food that they can provide. The gopis go there and beg for the food. But the rishis do not even pay any attention to them. The gopis say, our savior, Lord Krishna, is here. He is also hungry. At least give some food for him. No response. They were deeply involved in their yagnas and really considered these kids as just kids. Didn't really pay any attention. They come back to Krishna. Krishna says, okay, go to their wives. All right. The Gopkans, the friends of Krishna, go to the wives of the rishis. And the wives had already prepared so much food for this great festival, the great yagna that these sages were doing. So they saw these little cute boys and said, hey, the Krishna is also there. Oh, the Krishna. And they had realized, again, these guys had conveyed to the wives of the rishis that Krishna is here. And they were totally joyful. So whatever the food that they had, whatever was prepared, everything they gathered, the wives, and went with the Gopkans to the place where Krishna was sitting and surrendered themselves to the Krishna and said, now we don't want to go back to our husbands. We just want to be with you. Again, Krishna is the ultimate truth. And when you realize that truth, you reach that meditative state, then that stance that you are in, again, you don't want to get out. Krishna is not simply a physical being. He is the embodiment of the ultimate truth. And the wives of the sages easily achieve that. Krishna says, I'm really pleased with all your offerings, but you shall go back because that is your duty. And now when you go back, your husbands will actually not scold you that you gave me all this food. In fact, they will realize and respect you. The wives take that advice and go back. And the husbands welcome the wives and say, hey, we were doing this yagna, this experiment, this holy fire, this research to achieve that higher truth. We were doing this meditation through that ritualistic way to achieve that higher truth, the Krishna. But you found that higher truth through love and pure innocent love and dedication. So we are thankful that you taught us something, that it is not always that you gain the higher truth through hard way, through path of knowledge, that is of course one way, but through pure love and innocence and simplicity, you can also achieve the same, and you proved it because you achieved Krishna. So they were thankful. Then Panditji talked about this great incident, this great story of Govardhan lifting, the mountain Govardhan. Once upon a time, Krishna saw that every year the people of Vrindavan were offering whatever they had prepared, whatever they had grown to Lord Indra, the god of thunder, also the god of the gods. So Krishna says, yeah, this is great, but you do not have to offer anything to Indra. Indra is yes, the god of gods. He is also the god of thunder, but that is his duty. He is appointed by the creator god, Lord Brahma, to do that. That is his job. He's supposed to do rain. He's supposed to provide for you and provide nourishment to the earth. That is his job. That is his duty. There is no obligation that he's doing. And for that, you do not have to beg and surrender yourself in that merciful way and offer these things. He's supposed to do this. You're only answering to his ego. Krishna is very convincing lawyer, one might say. So the Gopkans and entire population of Vrindavan, they all agreed, okay, fine. From this year onward, we will not be worshipping or offering all these things to Lord Indra. But instead, as Krishna advised, you shall worship nature itself. You should be one with the nature. This mountain, the Giri Govardhan, that provides so much, so many resources that it provides, trees, etc. So many things that it is providing. Respect that instead. And that is right here in front of you. And it never asked for anything. Unlike Indra, who demanded that you give him all these things, or he will not rain upon you, or he will not provide nourishment. So Giri Govardhan here, the mountain Govardhan, never asked, provided all these things freely, all the resources. So that's what you should be worshipping, along with the entire nature. And thus the Gopkans did the Govardhan Puja and paid respect to the nature, more like about Earth Day. The god of thunder, the god of gods, Indra, got really angry because this time no offerings were made to him, as if he was of no importance. So Indra decided to make a big havoc. And the god of thunder rained and rained and rained and rained. So much that everything was flooded. And now people were really worried and scared. So they went to Krishna and said, now you save us. You are the one who recommended. See, we told you the god of thunder would get angry. And here we have the big thunderstorms, unstoppable thunderstorms. What do we do now? Krishna says, do not worry. You paid respect to the Lord Govardhan, the mountain Govardhan. Let's go to there. And Krishna lifts Giri Govardhan, the mountain, with his pinky finger. And that mountain now becomes the big umbrella. And everybody from Vrindavan gather. And Krishna provides the shelter. And that is how we worship the nature and also pay respect to this great mountain that is there in India, Govardhan, Giri Govardhan. And the entire form of Shri Krishna in the form of Srinathaji, Girirajadharan, the one who lifted the mountain, is then also worshipped by many in India. So this story is connected to that. Indra realized that the maintainer god, the Krishna himself, is there protecting. None of those thunderstorms had any impact now on the people of Vrindavan. They were happily under the shelter of the mountain. Krishna provided that shelter. So Indra came back to earth and begged Krishna for forgiveness and said, please forgive me for my arrogance. You are right. I was appointed by the creator god to provide nourishment to earth and other planets. I am the god of thunder. I'm supposed to do this. This is my job. I'm so sorry. Ego has no place Again, the lesson here is that when you are appointed to do something, and you may have a great title, do not hold ego with that. Simply hold the title with the understanding that all you have to do is your duty. And Krishna made the god of gods, Indra, the god of thunder, realize this. Thus, Indra paid respect to Krishna through flowers. And his cow, Surabhi, the divine cow from the heaven, rained milk on Krishna as a way of paying respect. Then Panditji talked about this story where once upon a time demons abducted Krishna's father, Nandarai. Nandarai happened to wake up early in the morning. It was not quite morning yet, but he thought it was. And he went to the river. And around that time, the demons were there and they saw Nandarai and they just abducted him and took them to the Varuna Lok. Krishna realizes this, that his father has been abducted by the demons, and goes to the Varun Lok and saves him. And Lord Varun, the god of oceans, rivers, sees that and says, Krishna, I'm glad you came. This was actually not my intention to make this inconvenience to you, but I'm glad that these demons who I provide refuge to under my waters took your father Nand, and you yourself had to come, but I'm glad that you came, because now I see you in your Krishna avatar, the Lord Vishnu, who took a form of Krishna. Again, the 22nd avatar of Lord Vishnu. I am delighted to see you. So thank you for coming. Please take your father with you, Nandarai. Then Panditji talked about Maharas, the great dance that happened in Vrindavan, where all the gopis gathered and each gopi wanted their own personal Krishna, and Krishna replicated himself into many Krishnas so that each gopi would have one Krishna. Again, I told you before that gopis had at this time considered Krishna their beloved, their husband. They were completely in love with him, and they wanted to have this Maharas, the dance, and Krishna provided that opportunity. And truth is one. Sometimes truth takes many forms, many colors, but it's still ultimately the truth. Therefore, again, Krishna was able to replicate and was able to provide individual experience to each and every gopi. When you experience that higher truth, it is your experience with the truth, but truth is still the same. That is the concept here. A poetry by Narsi Mehta comes into the mind that Mandala Karma Malapti Manini Harakti Nathne Bath Bharta. In circle have the gopis gathered, and they are so joyful, they are so full of this vibrant energy that they have their beloved Krishna with him, and each and every gopi is tightly hugging their beloved Krishna. And again, each gopi has their individual Krishna. What a beautiful sight. That is the sight of Maharas, and the Ras and Garba is a tradition of Gujarat that in India and here elsewhere in the world and in US, we follow that. Typically during Navratri time, the 9 days of the celebration of 9 goddesses, in which the dancings happen. But this one is slightly different. This is actually the Maharas of Krishna. But Ras is also traditionally done during those Navratri days as well. And Navratri is actually coming shortly, not too far from where we are right now, in October this year. So again, that is all that was discussed, and that is all. Namaste.